My name is Oliver Queen. For 5 years, I was stranded on an island with only one goal. Survive.
Oliver Queen is alive.
Now I will fulfill my father's dying wish to use the list of names he left me and bring down those who are poisoning my city. To do this, I must become someone else. I must become something else.
Hello and welcome to the AFUK Review Podcast. This one will be focusing on Episode 7, State vs. Queen. I'm Bradley and I'm joined today by Corey. Hello Corey.
Hi guys.
Right, so we're going to talk in depth about Best of the Queen. If you haven't seen the episode, I would advise you turn this podcast off. Because if you keep listening, you will get spoiled. Have you turned off yet? Okay, we gave you enough warning. Don't blame us. So, Corey, I usually start these podcasts off by asking you what you thought of the episode in general. But I'm not going to do that today because there was a much bigger work during the episode. Something that you and I both picked up on during the episode.
Yeah, we
and
indeed.
It just hasn't left our minds since. So, what did you think of Shadow in the Hood?
Well, she really rocked that appearance, I gotta say.
I mean, that was clearly the most shocking bit of the episode. I never saw it coming.
No, I was devastated when that cropped up in brilliant and disgusting ways.
Well, now we've passed the stage where we go with my jokes that aren't all that funny. And we're going to talk about the most shocking bit about the episode, in all seriousness, which is the return of a certain Malcolm Merlyn.
Indeed.
I haven't had a chance to re-listen to the Season 1 review podcast, but I think CJ called it.
I think he did as well. Sort of it scratching about there at the back of my mind. It does ring a bell.
So, what did you think about his reappearance?
Oh, well, it seems you just can't kill John Barrowman on whatever show he's on.
It's Comic-Con that they hadn't invited him back for the Doctor Who celebration, the 50th anniversary this weekend. But you know, bring him back to Arrow instead.
Yeah.
He'll take that.
No, but I mean, obviously he was bringing two revelations with him. Not just that he's not actually dead, but he's also Thea's daddy. And yeah, it was just one of those things that I genuinely didn't see coming. I'd heard about there was a big cliffhanger in the episode. I'd seen Stephen Amell post a picture of him and Colton Haynes, and I kind of thought it was going to be Rory finding out the identity of the Arrow, but yeah, that you got to give the writers credit. They do know how to shock you.
Well, I must say that if Roy had found out his identity, compared to what actually happened, how boring would that have been?
Yeah, very.
No offence to the idea of Roy finding out Oliver's identity, which would be quite shocking, but bringing a supposedly dead character back was just fantastic. On that point, how is he alive?
Yeah, I think that'll be the question on everyone's lips, really. I did some digging into the DC Comics universe, and Ra's al Ghul of the League of Assassins, I'm sure people can remember that name drop a few episodes back. Well, he has something called the Lazarus Pit, which does exactly what it says on the tin. And for those of you who don't know about Lazarus and all that, basically, if you go into the pit, it supposedly restores you and can bring you back from the brink of death. And I'll say that's probably the most rational, well, not really rational, because it's a pit that brings you back to life, but that's the explanation I'm kind of sticking with right now.
Well, you mean a magical pit that brings back to life over Rose having poured the time vortex into herself and bringing Jack back to life forever?
Well, yep.
Oh wait, wrong show. But yeah, obviously, we've had the recent announcement about Katrina Law's casting, and I'll come to that later on. But that does seem like the most likely explanation.
Yeah.
Speaking of Malcolm and his 2 reveals, other than the fact that he's alive, Thea is his daughter.
Yeah. I'm not actually sure what to say on that one. I mean, I guess it'd kind of explain why she has a fairly decent aim, as we saw in the finale last year. But no, it's going to be interesting to see what will happen if that all comes out. And as it's Arrow and they seem to like the shock factor, bombshells and whatnot, I would expect it to come out at some stage, but I honestly can't even think of a theory of where they're going to go with that, so it's going to be interesting viewing.
I just took me about 10 seconds to realise what you meant with the aim thing then.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does explain it. Well, the thing was about it, that once Malcolm was alive, as soon as that happened, I wasn't all that shocked that Thea was his daughter, to be quite honest. I had kind of seen it, someone, I think as a joke, I'm not quite sure, but I think as a joke, someone had suggested it elsewhere that Thea was his daughter. So they must be feeling pretty happy right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems weird.
I know what you mean. It is one of those things that I don't know. I'm honestly speechless over it because I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. I wasn't all that shocked, but I'm kind of shocked about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of what I am. Sort of, when I heard they had the affair and all that,
That was obvious. That was not surprising in the slightest.
No. But it's one of those things you don't really know what to make of it. I don't know. I think the thing we know with this show is they never do things just for the sake of it and just for shock factor. I mean, take Tommy's death at the end of season 1. It wasn't done just to have a big gut-wrenching moment in the finale. It's carried on through this season and shaped a lot of characters. So I'm sure that it is going to play a big role in the season to come. But right now I'm struggling to formulate many thoughts on it.
Well, my question is, does Laurel know? Well, as a better question, does Adam Donner know? Because that's where she got the idea from, wasn't it? Because that was his, I think it was trump card or whatever.
Yeah.
That was Adam's basis to derail anything Moira said, was the fact that she had an affair with Malcolm.
Yeah.
So it could be interesting to find out what they actually know, whether it's just they know it happened once, or that Thea is actually, they know the extent of it. I mean, you would think that Laurel and Adam don't actually know the extent of it, because Laurel seemed to accept the fact that Moira said it happened once in court. I know they didn't actually show her saying that, but they went from they cut it so it was her telling Oliver and Thea to her telling the court.
Yeah.
I like it when they do that. It's cool. But yeah, how much do they know? That's the question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I wouldn't be surprised if that's something else to come into it. I mean, I think the actual fallout from all that's gonna... I think that's going to go on for quite a few episodes. I can't see that being wrapped up too quickly.
No, I was thinking mid-season finale in 3 weeks time. But actually, considering the amount of storyline they probably have with the Flash, which we'll come on to later, it's unlikely. Which is disappointing. But
yeah.
actually, I know they've said that they like bringing the story out as quick as possible to kind of keep everyone interested. It's nice when they kind of leave you on edge for ages.
Yeah.
As long as it's not too long, it's fine.
Oh no, drive you nuts then, and kind of if they keep it, if they just stuff under the carpet and then take ages to come back to it, it sort of loses its impact a little bit as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's as a sort of semi-mid-season finale, i.e. we're having a week break. It's a hell of a cliffhanger.
It is indeed.
I would put it right up there with the Tommy's death.
Yeah.
And no, I don't think there was anything else better.
No, it's definitely, it's right up there.
Yeah, I want to see more Malcolm more, but I think now that he's alive, and obviously Moira knows, and a few of his associates know, which I have a point about, I'll come on to in a minute. It might be a while before we see him again, and it won't be very much seeing him again.
No, because I'm guessing he's not going to be keen for people to hear of his resurrection, as it were.
Well, if people did find out he's alive, then he wouldn't be alive much longer.
Well, yeah, there's that as well.
Because you probably end up with... How many people live in the Glades? Getting all their weapons,
Yeah.
going to find him, and killing him, to the point where they know for a fact he's dead. For example, they probably cut off his head,
Yeah.
and just kind of be like, yeah, if you come back from this, then just go back to Doctor Who. Because that's just ridiculous. But one... I didn't pick this up till I rewatched. He said about having a source or an associate in the DA's office.
Yeah.
Now, obviously we know that the Count was working with Brother Blood.
Yeah.
And so are a couple of police officers, or at least one police officer. Could Malcolm be working with Brother Blood?
That would certainly be an interesting. That would be very interesting turn to take. I mean, I think I saw an interview with Mark Guggenheim about there being two big bads in this season, but they linked up together, Malcolm and Brother Blood, both not so keen on the Arrow, and both wanting to save the city. But yeah, be interesting to see how that develops.
Imagine Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
That would be epic. But yeah, Brother Blood seems to know all of his identity. Actually saying that, thinking about it, does he?
That one I wasn't sure about, because I mean we saw the Count, or I think he referred to himself as Count Vertigo in this episode, but anyway, I don't know if he worked out who Oliver was, or
yeah,
he already knew.
He worked it out from the fact that Oliver tried to get Vertigo for his club, and then a little while later the Arrow took him down. So he used his phrase ipso facto, which I'm so stealing for everything I do for the next month. So yeah, he figured it out, but I can't quite work out if Brother Blood knows. When I first watched it and I first thought about it, I thought definitely he knows. Why do people keep finding out Oliver's identity? It's irritating. You know my point.
Yeah.
So I can't quite figure out if he does. Originally I thought he did, but actually thinking about it, does he, or does he just want the Arrow dead? It's certainly interesting to think about.
I think the ironic thing is Oliver did the same thing in season 1. He saved Malcolm's life, and Malcolm wanted the Arrow dead, and seems to he did the same with Brother Blood in this season.
But they differenced it a little bit up, didn't they? That was an awful sentence. They changed it up a little bit. Obviously, he saved Brother Blood. Even I'm calling him Brother Blood now. Sebastian Blood.
Yeah,
I'll just call him
but...
I'll just call him Blood from now on, so I can refer to him in both instances. So he saved Blood before we even knew that he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit different, but doesn't really matter all that much. But, yeah, like you say, two big bads working together, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to make the season bigger, the threat even higher, then two, well, you'd say kind of psychopaths working together doesn't get much more of a threat than that. Well, 3 psychopaths or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. Imagine a Malcolm versus Other Blood fight if they're not working together.
That could be interesting. I mean, we don't actually know how good Brother Blood is at fighting just yet, but I'm guessing if he takes his serum, which appears to be working now, but we'll get onto that later. But if he takes that, maybe he'll be able to pack a punch himself.
Yeah. I mean, talking about the serum, obviously it started working on that one bloke, that Cyrus.
Yeah.
So that's a bit worrying, that he's finally perfected something. I was kind of hoping it would take the whole season, and by that point he would be dead. That'd be nice. That'd be easy. Of course, they can't do easy, can they?
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems to be perfected. But I got to thinking, what if that serum is the same serum that Ivo is looking for, and that it's not Vertigo, as I originally suggested, but it is the Mirakuru, or whatever it is, that makes people stronger. Cyrus did say, when asked how he felt, stronger.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point to raise. I mean, we know the flashbacks like to mirror the present day here and there, and I mean, they wouldn't get mirroring enough as that, but I could see that happening. I mean, it kind of makes sense to sort of go with the same serum, because otherwise it's a bit too much of a coincidence to have 2 different serums.
Serum on the island that Ivo's found, a serum that Brother Blood's using, a serum that Count Vertigo's using to inject people so that they get hooked on Vertigo when he can give them another serum of Vertigo to unhook them but get them hooked on Vertigo again, and it's too many serums.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll find out at some point how everything kind of intertwines together. They do a good job of making storylines connect.
Yeah, they do, definitely.
Yeah, we'll go on to that. Well, we'll see it at some point, won't we? I think now we move on and talk about the Count.
Yep.
So he obviously returned, and as I've made quite clear last season, I wasn't too happy when he returned last season. But, because supposedly he was bleh,
Yeah.
as Oliver called him. That was a great technical term. But, and that was what really irritated me, the fact that it just felt like a way to bring him back into it. The whole, his doctors come up with this analyzing of his blood or whatever, and creating his own brand of Vertigo to sell. It's just like, really?
Yeah.
But at least bringing him back here, they had somehow managed to, bring him out of his vegetative state.
Yeah.
Into the realms of sanity. Which actually made it much better. Because another one of those episodes where he's sort of screaming and shouting aimlessly, I would have been very frustrated.
Yeah, same here. I mean, what would be the point, really?
Yeah. Well, at least we can take comfort in the fact that he's not coming back again.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of those villains, really, that every time he comes back, it's just going to be Vertigo and that, and it would get pretty repetitive and a bit dull in the end.
To be fair, there is nothing. I find it difficult to believe that Scable can make the character boring.
Well, yeah, I mean,
'Cause-
plot-wise, but I mean, I think his performance definitely keeps it fresh.
I mean, the guy is actually creepy.
Yeah.
I thought Barton Matthews was creepy, and it turns out he is. Are you surprised by that?
Not so much.
And yeah, he was the one that let him out, which was a nice little connection, I think.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch to just show us that.
Because obviously the Count, the only one in the prison that luckily managed to have his door fall apart, but no one else's did. It's just like, really? But yeah, he let Barton Matthews out, so I assume that Lance and Oliver and whoever else can blame the Count for Lance's, both of them being kidnapped, and the girl, I think there's only one girl that he killed, so...
Yeah, I think it was one or two, but yeah.
Yeah, so we can blame the Count. But yeah, it was weird, actually, to see that how he's distributing his product, because obviously before it was just kind of, you want it, come and buy it.
Yeah.
This was much more direct, much quicker, much more not like you can have it if you want it, it's there, come buy it. It's, I want as many people to have this as possible, and I don't care who it is. It's almost like it was almost a kind of indication I'm not very happy. I was thrown into a cell, etc. Blah blah blah. So I'm now going to wreak my havoc on the entire city because of Oliver Queen. It just felt a little bit like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean with that. Yeah.
It was cool. I mean, obviously, it's like affecting Diggle and Donna. Yeah, I didn't really have much else to say about that, to be quite honest.
I think even though I was saying it could get repetitive with the Vertigo and that, to be fair, they did do something different with it and built a different storyline with it. So yeah, that's all I've got to say on that, really.
I think the most important thing that came out of this, other than the fact that the Count knew his identity and therefore had to die, because really a crazy person like that knowing such a big secret, it would last half an hour.
Yeah.
That it would just be like, it's just, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But the main thing about it was that I'm going to go into an other than again, other than implying that Brother Blood wants Oliver or the Arrow dead. I think I've run out of other things now. I can actually get to the point I tried to make, is that Oliver has killed again. And actually, you could see, when he went back to the courthouse, it did seem to get to him.
Yeah, I thought Stephen Amell's acting there was superb. I mean, just, he wasn't so much saying anything, he was just showing it, and you could see that he was quite visibly affected by what he's done. And I mean, I think I wrote it in my review for the site that the last time the Count popped up, actually, where Oliver ended up killing the doctor who was distributing the drug, he just didn't really care that he killed him. And then you see now the Count Vertigo is threatening to kill Felicity, well, not really kill her, but cause her some serious damage. So he made the right call, to be honest, in putting an arrow in him, but he was really cut up about it, and I thought it's definitely shown his development as a character in the space of what really has been a few episodes, I guess.
And obviously that memory of Tommy and the fact that you're a murderer. I love those lines. That was fantastic. I'm going to come back to Tommy in a minute because I've just remembered a thought. But that bit, all about his death, as you said, is reverberating around everyone.
Yeah.
It's still felt, even though it was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It's still there. Oliver's still affected by it. So, I mean, if it had been like last, when Oliver, neglected to kill the Count, which was really the most stupid move ever.
Yeah.
I saw that at the time. I thought, yeah, they're going to bring him back. If they brought him back in this state once, they'll do it again. And it was beyond obvious, but like you say, when he's killing people last season, anyone, he just sort of did it without thinking. It just sort of, you're a bad guy.
It's just like a routine, really.
I mean, obviously, like he obviously did give him a warning.
Yeah.
Except with a couple of people who were bad, kosher, who did deserve it first time round. But he did give him a warning, but he still kind of killed them without thinking.
Yeah.
It was sort of like, you need to die, let's kill you. This season, like, we have the bloke, one of the hoods who kidnapped Thea.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he didn't need to die, but last season Oliver would have killed him.
Yeah, definitely.
Purely for, well, I would say purely for kidnapping Thea, but I think for kidnapping anyone.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much that he didn't kill him, it was the fact that he actually saved him, was the difference about it.
Yeah, I know what you mean there.
You had Bronze Tiger, I think. I can't quite remember that far back, that's weird. Bronze Tiger, possibly, if I remember correctly. China White, he could have quite easily killed.
Yeah.
Mathis, he could have quite easily killed, even though Sarah did kill him at some point. He was urging Sarah not to kill. Tried to call him Negaron then, that's his actor's name. Oh, it's too many names. Oh wow. He didn't want Sarah to kill either of them two.
No.
Up in the bell tower. I'm just trying to think of other examples. It was sort of one of those points where he's gone from not caring to actually going out of his way at points to not kill someone.
Yeah.
To now, well, my friend's in danger, who I have a crush on, I may have announced awkwardly last week. But we talked about that. So I'm going to kill you. As you said, the development from one to another back to now, where it's still having an impact on the previous one.
Yeah.
I know that was a bit ambiguous, but you get my point.
Yeah, I do, definitely.
So, I'm not quite sure whether Oliver's going to develop his habit of killing again. I hope he doesn't, because it's different, it's much, I'll say it's better when he's not killing. It seems more restrained, or more self-control he has, I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And as the whole point of this non-killing regime is to honour Tommy's memory, and by killing, he's actually ruining it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the whole reason he decided to put on the hood again, was only if he's not going to kill, so, well, we're going to see how much that meant to him, really, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, you say that, but actually, we've already seen how much it meant to him.
Well, yeah.
In the space of, well, what, half an hour in Starling City time? Or TV Realms time? It's affected him so much. Even when he shot the arrow, you could see it was like yeah, I've kind of saved you, Felicity, but actually that wasn't good. That was really bad.
Yeah, I was just, for some reason my head Man of Steel was popping up. The end to that kind of reminded me of that moment, actually.
I've never seen it, so...
Oh no, it's nothing groundbreaking, it's just a similar situation too.
Let's not go into that.
No, we're trying to avoid tangents this week.
We haven't done so well. Right, so I'm just trying to think, what else have we got? Just going through my notes. Oh, we kind of skipped over the last half an hour. The whole point of the episode, the title name of the episode, is Moira. And I forgot, I've just remembered a thought I had about Tommy, so I'm going to come up with that first before we start this next section. Do you remember in the pilot episode, when Tommy and Oliver came home, and Tommy saw him, and he saw Thea, and he goes to Oliver after Thea's left and gone, "Hey, have you noticed how hot your sister's gotten?" And then Oliver gives him like this cold look, and he just really quickly goes, "'Cause I haven't." I just had this thought, just after I rewatched it. I just had that thought of, if only Tommy was alive, he would be so, because he's just complimented the attractiveness of his half-sister.
Thea even made a bit of a pass of him in episode 6 of season 1, I think it was, too.
Yeah, it's just...
That looks very awkward on reflection.
Actually, I always want to ask the Arrow writers, all those lot that wrote this episode and come up with the idea, did they have this idea of Malcolm's going to die and then come back, and Thea is Malcolm's daughter? Maybe not the Malcolm coming back bit, but Malcolm is... I tried to call Malcolm Thea's daughter then. Shows you how much I'm kind of with it. But I wonder when they the idea of Thea being Malcolm's daughter, when they came up with it back that early on, back in, must have been January, February last year, when they wrote the pilot, if they came up with the idea then and thinking, let's plant a bit here, and in a few episodes' time, so that we can lead up to this in season 2, or whenever we decide to announce it. Or was it just kind of, oh, well, we're bringing Malcolm back, so let's bring back another revelation. Let's just throw everything into the ring. What do you think?
I'm not sure. I mean, sort of being boring and like connecting the dots. I think as they were writing season 1, the decision to kill Tommy came up after season 1 had started airing, because American-wise they write as they go. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a later decision when planning for season 2. In light of the Tommy making that comment and Thea making the pass, I kind of hope it was a decision come season 2.
Well, I've just kind of to go off on a tangent again, we are here, but oh well. The Mark Guggenheim said in an interview at, I think it was an event in March, I can't remember where it was. It wasn't quite Comic-Con, but it was something similar. He said that they had an idea since before the pilot aired, right? So I assume this is when they got back to, because in America, I don't know if any of you know how this works, or you, Corey, but basically in America what they do is the networks get the pilot episodes for their September shows in end of April, early May.
Alright, yeah.
They get the pilots then, and that's how they decide what they're going with. So they kind of get, I don't know, 10, 15 pilot episodes. And that's why in the pilot episode the characters look so much different to how they do in episode 2. Because this was filmed 4 or 5 months before.
Yeah.
Okay? And what they do then is they go through all the pilot episodes. They watch every pilot episode, and they make they think about it, which ones have the potential to get the highest ratings, fan followings, that kind of thing. Obviously what's going to be the most successful. There's no point in granting a pilot and a series of a show that's going to last 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So that's why they have it really early. So obviously when the Arrow people, the writers, Mark Guggenheim, Andrew Kreisberg, would have got together January, February to write the pilot. So they had enough time to produce it, edit it and change stuff and whatever. And Guggenheim actually said in that interview earlier this year that they came up with an idea for the season 1 finale. Obviously it hadn't aired yet, so he didn't say what it was. But they came up with an idea and presented it to the CW president. And throughout the season he's been saying to them, are you still going with this? Are you still going with this? Every few weeks he gets a call. Are you still going with it? Yeah, we are. Are you sure you're not kind of changing up because it's a massive thing? Yeah, we're still going with it. We know it's a massive thing. That's why we've put it in there. So I'm not quite sure which one they're talking about. But I'm trying to remember what my point about all this was. I think it was about the fact that you said that they came up with Tommy halfway through the season.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. In terms of big things, killing off the best friend at the end of the first season is pretty big. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was that, actually.
Yeah, so I think that actually since, as we've said, nothing they do is unintentional. Everything has a point to it. Maybe they did come up with this idea of Thea's going to be Malcolm's daughter back in January, February when they wrote the pilot.
Yeah, you never know.
Because that would make it much more... There would be a point to the idea of Thea and Tommy making passes at each other. Whereas, back when we watched it for the first time last year, it was sort of, oh, Oliver's best friend is flirting with his sister, and she's flirting back. That was just... That was what it was.
Yeah.
Well, we know that, actually, that could have been intentionally planted for this moment.
I was
to make
just
us
thinking, actually, because also in season 1, Thea suspected that her mum was having an affair with Malcolm anyway and got quite cross about that, so it's actually starting to seem more likely.
Yeah, I mean, she did mention it in this episode, didn't she?
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's enough of that, because we've spent, 6-7 minutes talking about that. And we promised we wouldn't go on for the tangent. We need an Emmy nomination. I said that last week. I'm going to say it every week until we get it. We want an Emmy. Right, so, like I said, we'll go to the actual main focus of the episode, based on the title, which was Moira's trial. How little sense did it make that she was not guilty, until Malcolm said to her that he had something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, when she got that not guilty verdict, and obviously we'd seen what had happened in court, Thea's kind of got taken to the cleaners by Donna. The whole Malcolm affair came up. Well, when they got the not guilty verdict, I was thinking, well, have I missed something here?
Yeah, I mean, before the episode, I was expecting it to be not guilty.
Yeah, same here.
Mainly because I think she was in the promotional images for the Flash introductory episode.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really weird that they would do that. Because that's basically ruining the whole episode, really, isn't it? It's like, yeah, we'll feature her in our promotional images for next week. Oh yeah, that means that she gets off this week. I mean, logic is just taken... I don't know. But yeah, I expected her to get off before I watched the episode. I thought she's going to get off because they would want to use her somehow. I didn't know how. But actually, the episode went on, I thought, how is she going to get off?
Yeah.
Thea's statements actually didn't help her at all. Moira's statement completely did no help at all. From what we saw, there was actually very little that suggested she was not guilty.
Yeah, I mean, writing looked on the wall, really.
So, obviously Malcolm saying that he has something to do with it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I can envision him in the Dark Archer suit with an arrow. Moira Queen must be not guilty. If she isn't, I will kill you all. That would look pretty bad, though.
It would a bit, yeah, because that's almost a weird sort of vicious circle there, because I'm guessing the jury would then know that she definitely is guilty if she's got him on her side.
I just can't quite figure out how he managed to do it.
No.
But,
money? I don't know if they were bribed, I don't know.
Well, yeah, that could have been a thing to do with it, I suppose.
Maybe that'll come out, or maybe it's sometimes you have those convenient little plot points in TV shows. It might just be one of those.
Yeah, but her secrets, what she kind of had, we always knew when she said that she was hiding something, when she told Jean and when she told Oliver and Thea that she didn't want stuff to come out that didn't need to come out. She was prepared to spend her life in prison than actually have all this come out.
Yeah.
I actually at that point expected something similar to this, like being with Malcolm. But I don't really know what I expected, to be honest.
No, part of me expected it was things we already knew, that, about the yacht being sabotaged, and obviously we knew all that. And then part of me thought something bigger, something to do with Malcolm, but I definitely didn't see this coming. But like we said earlier, when it got down to it, it didn't. I don't know. It was one of those that just kind of it made you hit a brick wall, really.
Yeah, that's funny. But see, I was really surprised actually when she was sort of freely talking about Walter being kidnapped.
Yeah.
As if it was kind of oh yeah, everyone knew that Moira was involved in the kidnapping. Was I not paying attention at some point? Because I really don't remember that coming out.
No, I mean, I definitely don't think Thea knew, or I think Oliver knew. Well, of course he knew because he overheard them, but no.
So of course he knew.
Yeah.
That's how he found him in the first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of weird. Because obviously everyone would have known that she was involved with something, but actually knowing I suppose, I don't know, my thing was that actually she didn't kind of precisely say that, oh yeah, well actually no, she didn't, did she? I was going to say that she didn't kind of come out and say, I wanted him kidnapped so that he didn't spill any, but actually she didn't. She just didn't want him to kill Walter. So I'm sort of getting lost in my own thoughts here. But yeah, I don't remember that ever coming out.
No, I mean, maybe it's something that came out during, 6 months between season 1 finale and season 2 premiere?
I mean, obviously Walter knew about it, and
yeah,
Oliver knew about it, and Malcolm knew about it, but no one else, really, I don't think.
No.
I must go and rewatch every episode since Walter was rescued, just to see who found out, because I'm lost at the moment. But yeah, that was some of the stuff that did come out it was interesting. What my hope is that actually this is all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I said this, I think, last week when we were previewing it, that actually we don't want sort of half of it to come out now. We want all of it to come out now, because otherwise it's just sort of, like you said earlier, kind of hanging on edge.
Yeah, and you don't want Moira's role just to basically become the one who has a lot of secrets.
It just gets boring.
Yeah.
But I think it was kind of the whole idea of the Thea thing being announced was the big secret. That was it.
Yeah.
Literally, she has no bigger secrets ever. She might have like little mini secrets that actually Okay, when they get released, yep, we care about this for about 15 minutes. Oh, okay, yeah, you did that, yeah, fair enough, okay, never mind. We just accept it. This is like colossal.
Yeah, I mean, if they manage to bring out a bigger one in this season, then dear God knows what that will be.
Tommy is still alive.
Yeah.
Don't think so somehow.
No, yeah, he seems pretty dead.
But they have had quite a few big secrets this year, haven't they? Let's see. Sarah's alive. After being dead, seemingly. Malcolm's alive. After being dead, seemingly. I swear everything that they do is somehow related to death.
It does seem that way, actually.
It's almost like a pessimistic view of life. Like, yep, people die. Well, yeah, we know that, but you're just kind of enhancing the thing of everyone dies. They don't just die of old age or whatever. They die because we want them to die. Like a dictatorship. But yeah, so I'm hoping that we see more about Thea's secret, not Thea's secret, Malcolm's secret about Thea. I'm almost gone completely again, and we still got something else to talk about. Right, but I am really hoping that the secret does come back into it soon.
Yes.
I'm just waiting for the point that Thea finds out.
Yeah, I mean, to see how she deals with that is... yeah, I mean, we know she's been kind of erratic in the past. She's gradually got herself more together this season, but finding out your dad's not your dad and your dad is, in fact, a bit of a psycho.
A bit of a psycho, did you just say?
I was understating that. No, but I think that's enough to tip anyone over the edge. So.
Yeah. Maybe that's where she turns to Roy, go kill Malcolm for me, who then turns to Oliver, go kill Malcolm for me, who then turns to Diggle, help me kill Malcolm for me. And then we end up with another fight where Diggle gets a knife thrown at him, Oliver gets an arrow through his chest, Malcolm gets an arrow through his heart, and then he goes to the Lazarus pit, revives himself, and this all happens again. And what we find out is that Malcolm has got a long, endless line of illegitimate children in Starling City, and throughout the next 10 seasons of Arrow, he's just going to keep on appearing, having been dead, and then coming out and saying, I'm your dad. As far as repetitive goes, that would be quite far.
It would a little bit, yeah.
I think we're going to go on and talk about the last little element of the episode before we do some other little bits that we thought of, which is the island.
Yep.
I didn't actually have all that much to say about the island this week, which was weird. But one thing we did learn was that it wasn't the submarine, or well, it is a submarine, sort of. I'm really confusing myself now, I should stop thinking. But it's the Hosen.
Yeah.
That Oliver found in episode 2, and that he's brought back to the present day, that somehow, presumably, I think it was with the coordinates, wasn't there, with the numbers on the back of the Hosen,
yeah,
leads whoever got the Hosen, who could ever read the coordinates, to the submarine where Mirakuru is. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
So, presumably in the next 4 years, they're going to use it somehow.
Yeah.
To find the serum. And to use the serum, presumably on Slade, who is in very bad condition. It's really... He looks like Deathstroke already.
Yeah, he does.
Just without the mask. It's quite cool, actually. But the mask is cooler.
I wouldn't recommend going for that look at home, though.
No, just stay with the mask. If you're going to try and beat Slade, just go with the mask. It looks better.
Don't burn half your face off.
It's not advisable. No. Unless you're in that condition where you can't feel pain. There is actually a condition like that.
Yeah, there is actually. Yeah.
Unless you're one of those people, just don't do it, because it's not good.
Doing
But-
our bit for health and safety.
Doing our bit for health and safety, yeah. We can say we tried.
Yeah.
Although, if people aren't, common sense, I don't know. Anyway, what was I saying about the Hosen?
Yeah.
My question is, the Hosen's important, and presumably they're going to kind of find the serum, and then the Hosen won't be as important anymore.
Yeah.
Why did Oliver bring it back? Was it purely as a little souvenir for Thea, and now for Roy, and then back to Thea? Like a little memory of the island, or does it actually have some relevance to anything?
I'm starting to think you might be right. I'm starting to think it might have some relevance, because if we bear in mind towards the end of his stay on the island, and the Oliver we got to know in season 1 was quite cold, quite cut off from things. Surely he's not gonna think in that moment, oh, there's a boat, they're coming to get me, I'll just go grab a souvenir for my little sister.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he picked it up now, so maybe he kind of has it with him for the next 4 years. But I thought, and we're going back on to the little bit off topic of the Hosen that I was talking about, but the thought I just had was that, what if Oliver took the serum as well? And that's how he's gone from the patheticness that we saw at the start of season 1 to the kind of stronger person we're seeing this year to what he is in the present day, where the only person who can defeat him is Malcolm Merlin.
That's a very good point, actually.
Because obviously if he was in the present day with his strength, he might be able to take on Adam Hunt, or else a few mediocre, kind of untrained, unskilled villains.
Yeah.
But would he be able to take on 10 of them a week? Or take on the stronger ones?
I was just thinking, actually, didn't Sarah say she thought he was dead as well?
Yeah.
So you might be onto something there, because if she,
Was that she thought he was dead like he thought she was dead?
Yeah.
As in the second time?
I think
was-
it was the second time.
Or was it that she just thought he was dead the first time when they drowned?
I think
Oh.
it was the second time, because I'm not sure on that one. I might have to rewatch that now.
Yeah. It's pretty annoying when we end up talking about something and we don't know it all.
Yeah.
It's not good. But yeah, it could be interesting. Certainly if she did think he was dead the second time. But she didn't seem, obviously she'd known for a year that he was the Arrow.
Yeah.
She didn't seem that shocked to see him, and even if it was just that year, she didn't kind of say the shock of, I was shocked you were alive. I think she said, I thought you were dead. I think that's coming back to me a little bit now. She was in the club just before Lance was outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of trying to rack my brain trying to think about it, and I'm not really sure.
We'll probably just have to watch that one back, I'm guessing.
If anyone on the Twitter feed does happen to remember, please, because we don't have a clue. Yeah, I mean, one thing you've told me here, you've got Slade, Shadow, Sarah, Ollie, with dashes between it. One thing I just noticed about it, it's the 3 S's and the O.
Yeah.
Who's going to get excluded first?
Yep,
And-
the odds aren't really stacked in Oliver's favour.
No, he's the weakest one, presumably.
Yeah.
He's the one that has an O, when the rest of them have an S. There's not really much else, really. Yeah. But I think we're sort of done there. Except that one thing was that clearly, I mean, we sort of we thought about this back in episode 5.
Yeah.
But I think we kind of had it confirmed this week that Ivo is the big bad.
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
indeed.
Now that the captain's dead, it was sort of a mixed match between the captain and Ivo
Yeah.
from when we met them. The captain's dead. We got a new captain, which was weird. It's just like, right, I'm going to kill the previous captain. Here, you're the new captain.
And quite a scare tactic to kill your predecessor right in front of you.
Yeah, just like, yeah, you mess this up, you know what's coming.
Yeah.
You just know it. But yeah, I think it's almost certain now that Ivo is the big bad,
Yeah.
unless they try and introduce another character, which would be ridiculous. You never know. But as far as I think we had a few odds and ends here that we've kind of thought of. There was another couple of references to the Star Labs.
Yep.
I'm calling him Vertigo now.
Yeah.
I should just give up. The Count bounced his signal for the video feed off the Star Lab satellite,
Yep.
which apparently, that was earlier in the episode, the particle accelerator is going to be turned on schedule, despite the opposition. So, yeah, obviously, I mean, next episode is The Flash,
Yep.
which my excitement is increasing, which is weird. So, obviously we're going to see that make an appearance. And then we can finish with the references, we can just have it there. Don't you think?
Yep. Yep.
I went on about this last week, like a complete sad, I have no life, and it's very true. You know exactly what I'm going to say, don't you?
I do indeed.
About the music. My thought about it was, when they were playing the speech at the very start in the prison and in the courtroom, how boring was it? How boring did it sound without that dramatic music that they had in the finale?
Of course. Yeah.
It's just like, oh, this really seemed boring. It's almost like, imagine if you ever imagine watching a TV episode like Arrow, but has fantastic music, as I've previously mentioned. I need a life. That with no music. It's like if you were watching it if you were on the producing team,
Yeah.
which would be kind of watching it before you had the music, just to see what music you need to add, where you need to add it, etc. And even filming it, how boring must that? Well, obviously the whole idea of being part of the Arrow set would be interesting, clearly, but kind of the idea of the episode without music.
Yeah, it's like having a sitcom without the laugh track or something.
Yeah, that does seem weird, I must say.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same.
No, I think it's amazing what music can do, like mood-wise, and just it can really set a tone on its own.
But yeah, I thought that was something I had to make a point about, and they sort of changed a little bit the Count music,
Yeah.
which was that was nice.
Yeah, I mean it. Obviously, he's come out with a different plot. I thought he was more threatening than perhaps previous appearances, so give him some new music as well. Why not?
Yeah, I mean he did say, "Quiet, please, I'm threatening." That was fantastic. That was straight after his what do you want? Well, peace and personal satisfaction, though not necessarily in that order. That was just like, yeah, you're just weird, and at the same time, funny. But yeah, it was because that was one of my favourite tracks from the soundtrack. But it was nice to kind of see that change a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when season 2 soundtrack comes along, they'll have some fresh stuff on there for you as well.
Yeah, and then I get another hour odd sitting around listening to it, putting it on my phone, and then spending another 10 hours a week. Not that. No, I'm not. No, I'm not that sad. I'm not that sad. Listening to it. I've got 2 playlists. I've got the whole hour soundtrack, and then a best bits. I've just got like 10 of them, not my favourite. Just stop me talking about it. Seriously, just next time, just ban me from talking about it. I'm not allowed to talk about it. Just looking through my notes. That was one thing about it as well. In the courtroom, when they were cross-examining Thea, and Donna asked her about when was the first time you knew about the undertaking. My thought about it was, what if Oliver had been called up to the stand and asked the same question? How awkward would that have been? Oh yeah, I was kidnapped by the vigilante. Wait, when? When were you kidnapped by the vigilante? Because nobody knew it.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah.
And did you get a look at his face? Oh no, because what if my partner, I told him to dress up as a vigilante, kidnap me and my mother so it will make it look like I'm not the vigilante, but I can find out the information at the same time. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm the Arrow. That would have made a really interesting court scene, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That would indeed.
I don't think that would have been good for the show. I think it might have ended it right there. But yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the point, actually. Why didn't... Well, I was going to say, why didn't they end up questioning Oliver cross-examining Oliver anyway, but I would have thought Laurel knows that he's a little tougher than Thea, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not sure why they didn't question him, really.
No, I couldn't quite figure that out, to be honest. There was some fantastic felicity.
Yeah.
As usual. I mean, really, with her going after the Count, or to the blue shop place, the rolling truck, that was really intelligent. It's not like she's been kidnapped by almost kidnapped by a violent psychopath already this season.
No.
She wants to run the risk of doing it again for the second time in 6 weeks. Well, if that's what she wants to do, then by all means let her. But just seemed weird. But I did like her, especially with Diggle, where he was like asking about how one injection can make it that it can be addictive, and she was just like, try heroin sometime. It's just like, yeah, because we really want to try heroin.
Yeah. Come to think of it, she actually tried heroin. I mean, I doubt it, but that was a interesting source of knowledge.
That's just repetitive of I speak before I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Just note to self and everyone who watches Arrow, don't do that. It's not good. It will end up getting you in a lot of trouble.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. I put this in my teasers because I thought it was hilarious when I thought about it when I was making some notes about it for the teasers. I thought this was fantastic. I came up with the idea of, we see an abusive relationship. How fantastic. It was, yeah, very abusive. It's very violent. I mean, I think I should get the police involved. There's clearly some bad stuff going on there. But that was quite funny, I must admit. They just come in with the boxing gloves. Hit me. Come again? But yeah, that was kind of a nice touch after last week where Thea broke up with Roy.
Yes. I mean, we haven't really touched on that, and, well, to be fair, so much happened in the episode. But I thought that was a nice little scene, actually, and it's developed very nicely, too, so...
I'm just trying to see if I've got anything else. One, Sebastian Blood. I'm going to call him Sebastian Blood because that was his alter ego here.
Yeah.
That was actually his personality in this scene. he was concerned for Adam Donner, even though technically he was sort of behind it.
Yeah, because he got yeah.
Irony. Yeah, let's get into that stage where we just sort of run out of stuff to talk about.
No, yeah, but that was ironic. It's almost like Sebastian Blood and Brother Blood are, well, they're clearly not two different people. One's just a public face and whatever, but no, nice little slice of irony.
It was that was quite nice. And the final thing I say, I managed to pause it right at the exact moment that it went to Laurel's face after they read the not guilty. And I don't know if you did that or saw her face. It was just hilarious.
I sort of saw it for a second, but probably actually managed to pause it not as well as you did.
Well, I had to go do something else at that time, so I thought I've just waited on my second rewatch. I thought I've just got to wait until the verdict's been delivered and then just pause it, so I've gotten kind of not leaving myself on edge, even though I know what's happening. It's another one of my sad habits. Anyway, but yeah, it was quite funny. There's like a look of shock, horror, and everything all combined into one.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone in the courtroom seemed to do that. Oliver did as well, but
Well, like you said to Diggle, he couldn't understand how she got off.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we've talked so much about this episode that we've run out of things to say.
Yeah,
I like it when we do that.
It's a sign we've got everything we needed to.
Yeah. Just add a little bit of news. You can find this on the website, of course. Katrina Law has been announced to guest star in episode 13, which has been named as well, called Heir to the Demon. You can find all the episode names on the episode list. It's on the menu bar on the website. And she is going to be playing the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. And total opposite to what I suggested 2 weeks ago. It's going to be Nissa, I think that's how you spell it.
Yeah.
Nissa al Ghul, instead of Talia al Ghul. Well, losing the will to live here. Who I suggested it would be. I'm just looking her up now because I'm sure. Oh, that's nice. I could have looked this up beforehand, but I was sure she died, and she did die. Well, I think. Yeah, she did die. But someone, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure who it is. I'm trying to figure out who it is. I have no idea. Anyway, she got killed and then got brought back to life using the Lazarus pit. And now she is in possession of one of the world's last Lazarus pits, which has granted her longevity. Can't even say words now. Longevity, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm doubting myself now. Seriously, and the ability to heal her wounds, and she survived the Holocaust because of it.
Blimey.
She found the ability to use the pit multiple times. I assume beforehand that it was the whole idea of you can only use it once, I presume.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. No, Batman's identity, but that's not going to come into it at all. A Lazarus pit was created in the Batcave. That's not going to come into it. One in the Himalayas, one in Australia Outback, and one in Tibet. I'd be willing to bet that someone managed to get a hold of it, give it to the League of Assassins, or the League of Assassins managed to get a hold of it somehow. And then perhaps Aloal, or one of the League of Assassins managed to get Malcolm back to it and bring him back to life.
Yeah, because I think Aloal seemed to know that Oliver had a tough time beating Malcolm anyway, so how else would he have known that?
That did actually, that does that did sort of seem weird when I first watched it, that how could you know?
Yeah.
Unless you watch the news, it's just like, right, I'm going to go do a bit of killing now, and then when I get back I'm going to watch the news.
It doesn't really seem in his character, I gotta say.
No. And also, when Malcolm was like, I went to a place where death was an illusion, so maybe that was the illusion, that actually you can cheat death, that you can die and then be brought back to life.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But, I mean, obviously we will find out in episode 13. Yeah. I don't know if I don't think she's a recurring character. She might be, but obviously we'll find out. So we're going to talk a little bit at the end of the podcast, as we have done, a little bit about the scientist.
Yeah.
We are still 2 weeks away from that, because the CW have decided to air some sort of feature-length, whatever it is, but it's not Arrow, basically. So we don't have one next week, which is really disappointing, but that does confirm that these 2 episodes starring Barry Allen, The Flash, as Grant Gustin. I said that the wrong way around, didn't I? Grant Gustin as Barry Allen or / The Flash.
Yeah, that's the way.
That'll be the mid-season finale. So just in case any of you hadn't known about that, that is what's going to happen.
2-part mid-season finale, judging by the promo I just watched.
Yes, I do like it when they do that. It's fun. Sort of connecting, like last year when we had The Huntress with the 2-parter, and then they went to Year's End, and it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
It's just not connected at all. But anyway, so the scientist, so I'm going to read you the press release, quick chat about it, and then kind of wrap things up. So Barry Allen comes to Starling City. A seemingly impossible robbery at Queen Consolidated Applied Sciences Division brings Central City Police scientist Barry Allen to town. Obviously, as you know, Grant Gustin will be playing him. Citing a similar case, back home, Barry offers to help Oliver and the team with the investigation. So from that, even from that, you seem to think that Barry's gonna learn Oliver's identity straight away.
Yeah, I think that's a decent hunch. I mean, if he's gonna be working quite closely, then and obviously we know that he's probably gonna go. Well, we do know he's gonna go on and become the Flash, so you'd suspect that he will find out who Ollie is.
Oliver then, continue on. Oliver senses there is more to Barry than meets the eye, but he's distracted by the similarities between his current case and something that happened. So, not only are we going to have something happen at Queen Consolidated that's connected to something that Barry Allen knows, but both of them are going to be connected to something that happened on the island that only Oliver knows. There's too many connections. I'm never going to be able to keep up with them all.
Actually, listening to that, I think one of our theories might be right, but I'll come to that in a second.
Okay. Meanwhile, Felicity takes a liking to Barry, which doesn't go unnoticed by Oliver, so now we're going to get the jealousy from Oliver's side. It could be fun. Sin, who I'm really looking forward to having back, because she's quite fun. Purely for the point of everything, talking to Roy Abercrombie. Does she actually know Roy's real name? I'm kind of hoping we find out in this episode. But as I was saying, Sin asks Roy for help when a friend of hers goes missing. So I bet that could be Sarah, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be. You never know with the show anymore, do you?
No, probably end up being Talia al Ghul. Like, yeah, we got the other one coming in episode 13, but we're going to bring this one in now. Or maybe that's just my sad obsession with myself wanting to be right. Anyway, Roy is surprised when Thea not only encourages him to help, but joins the search. Unfortunately, I think this is where my Sarah theory is going to come right out of thrown out the window. Unfortunately, Sin's friend is connected to Brother Blood, and their search ultimately gets one of them seriously injured. Well, we've already had Sin seriously injured recently, and Oliver... Roy... I'm losing it here completely.
We're almost there.
Yeah. Roy has been stabbed last year,
Yeah.
so that kind of leaves Thea. Although she crashed her car and whatever. So actually we're back to the point of it could be any of them. I don't know. You just don't know with the show, do you?
No, I mean, who knows what's going to come next.
I have no idea. You, I think we'll finish with this, but you said you had a theory that you thought we might be right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've had a look at the promo, and there's one scene of someone lying on the floor with blood coming out of their eye, and shots of the serum as well. So
That's lovely.
Presumably, the case and the killings or whatever are connected to Brother Blood's serum. And it did say it reminds Oliver of something on the island. And we were talking about maybe both serums are the same. So perhaps they're both the same. And we'll find out in this episode.
But the first sentence of the press release says about a seemingly impossible robbery. So what would be stolen?
Yeah, I'm stumped now.
I just derailed your theory.
Yep, throw that one out the window.
Well, no, actually, no. Well, you say that, but it is actually quite interesting. To be fair, maybe, right? What happened was that someone's stolen something from Queen Consolidated that they can add to the serum. That actually not only gives increased strength, but makes people faster. And as far as I know, that's one of the Flash's powers, that he's quick.
Yeah.
So maybe that's going to bring into it.
Yeah, because... Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's like we say, who knows?
Who knows? I'm really half expecting that was some sort of clever pun then about someone from the first season coming back who died, and then I just couldn't think of anyone. So I'm just going to kind of quit while I would say marginally ahead, but I'm not at all, am I? I'm going to quit before I make myself look like a complete idiot, even more so than I already have. I'm sure everyone finds it fun anyway. So yeah, I think we'll wrap up there. Obviously, we're without Arrow next week, so if you're going to try and tune into Sky 1 at 8 o'clock next week, well, you can do so if you so wish. I'm not going to deter you from that. Being Arrow. I'm pretty confident of that. I don't know if they'll show a repeat event of one of them. Probably show some sort of special. But yeah, but then we return in 2 weeks' time with The Scientist, and after that, 3 Ghosts. And we'll be back with the podcast in a couple of weeks. You can keep up to date with all the Arrow news on the website. We've got reviews. We won't have a preview for a little while, obviously, but promotional photos, press releases, news, that kind of thing. Anything you want, it should be on the site, really. And if it isn't, then, well, just ask, really, because I'm sure we can find it for you.
Yeah.
But I think we've talked enough, so I hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and we will see you next time.